Go. This was the one from last week. No, 2 months ago. Remember. Hello, everyone. This is Loic. Welcome to No Stupid Audio Question. And today we have a special one. We have Piper and Dan. We have decided to be together. How are you guys? And you're on mute. Sounds like a Zoom call.
There we go.
Congratulations.
Yay!
Yes.
Dan and I are in the same room and the same space on the same camera today.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. And wow, we are so lucky to have Samantha Margret, longtime client and friend of mine and of Infrasonic Mastering and Music Expo at this point, because I'm just such a huge fan of hers. I just keep bringing her in for everything I've.
Oh, this is not the first Music Expo for her.
Well,
this is my first No Stupid Audio Questions, though.
Okay, well, sure.
Yeah,
sure, absolutely.
Didn't she land a track? I think for one of the masterclass that you did, she landed a track, correct?
Oh, very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're happy to have all of you today. Thank you so much for joining. Before I get out of the way, we are super excited about what's happening in October. We're back with No Stupid Audio Question after taking a break in September. So thank you, Piper, Dan, and Samantha to be with us. I wanted to do a quick shout out for the session next week, where we have Frank Sakuro and David Naroff, who's a composer, joining us for the mixed feedback session. If you want to register for free and submit your track for mixed review, go to musicexpo.co/events, and we'll probably add the link somewhere. So just wanted to do that so you all sign up. And here we are. And Piper, Dan, and Sam, I'll just disappear and let you drive from here. Okay?
Thank you so much, Loic. We can take care of it. Welcome, everybody. It's good to be back. Had a month off, so we are really excited to be back with all of you. And we are super excited. Today is kind of a little bit of a different tangent for us with our guests today. So Samantha, tell us a little bit more specifically, what do you do and why are you on No Stupid Audio Questions?
Oh, excellent questions. I am a singer-songwriter, and I am here because I work alongside a bunch of amazing producers and engineers and mix engineers and mastering engineers to get projects done and have delightful relationships with a lot of those people, including Piper, who masters literally everything I make. So,
well, that's awesome. Yeah,
I'm here to answer any questions about that.
Yeah, we thought it'd be fun to get a perspective from the other side of the microphone for once. We're always talking about compressors and limiters and etc. It'd be fun to get a little bit of a musician's take on it.
Yeah, sort of like a Karen feeding of the musician.
There you go.
Make sure that your artist is happy. But also, Samantha, I love your way of being in the world with collaboration with the folks that you're working with all the time. Like, you always are so respectful and communicative, and you're so good at networking, and you're fucking talented. So I just thought it'd be like cool to have you here and hang out with you and ask.
Clearly I'm here to just receive compliments. That's really why I'm here.
And that's our show. Now we've done that.
Goodbye.
That's great. That is great. No, we are so glad to have you here. So I think hopefully we have a few questions. Let's go over the rules really quickly before we get started. There are a few rules, which I will forget the order of and exactly what they are. But of course, rule number 1, there are no stupid audio questions, right? This is a safe place. You can ask whatever question it is, that thing you missed and you've heard people talk about that you're unsure of, or, whatever. This is definitely a safe place to ask your question. What else am I missing?
Rule number 2 is, I'm not sure what comes up next. This is a safe space.
Oh, have fun. I guess rule 1 was have fun.
Yep.
Oh, well.
Rule number 1 is have fun. Rule number 3 is make sure your rules are in order.
Well,
this is Piper and Dan's rules of order.
It's been over a year, and I don't think we've ever quite gotten it right once. But Oh, yes, we're not allowed to say it depends.
Yes, you have to also have fun.
Yes.
So grab a drink, hang out. This is not a buttoned up audio presentation, trademark. This is a very fun hang with friends and our Music Expo community. So yeah, we can't say it depends.
Totally.
Can't answer a question with it depends. And
can I actually ask a question to Samantha that I think will I just kind of want to get a little more information.
It depends.
I know, right? Do you Samantha, do you independently release your music? Like, are you the one physically like getting your music distributed?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not all the way at the level of carrying around like a backpack full of CDs, but I am submitting music to a distributor independently.
Perfect.
And
yes,
having
that was what I meant.
Yes. That is
awesome.
me.
Okay, great.
So first question for Samantha is, how do you choose your team?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Maybe you could give some experience or some examples of how you built your team, because obviously you are your own person.
Yeah. One of the things, I mean, so for me, what I'm looking for is like creativity, creative ability. I like to have a team with opinions because I feel like the point of having other people involved is that I'm not the only quality control. There should be someone else with opinions and ideas and creativity on the other end of the collaboration. So creativity, but then I also look for someone who, when I spend time with them, I feel good about that time afterward, because so much of what I do every day is collaborating. I don't want to be in meetings where someone's rude to me or makes me, feel self-doubt or like I want to be in meetings where at the end I feel like, yeah, this song's going somewhere, or yes, that was a great meeting. We got so much done. So I look for that. I have met most of my team members either through other songwriters and artists. So a lot of referrals. I think that's how I met Piper, was through a referral.
Oh, awesome.
And then the other way is that there are not that many producers in a lot of songwriting spaces. I think that for some weird reason, even though we collaborate so closely, I'm a pop artist, so especially in pop, we collaborate so closely. And yet, after this, I'm going to go to a song club that is 95% songwriters. And so the one producer who's at that song club is, gonna get to work with some of those songwriters. So that's the other way that I've met people, is just like producers and engineers who put themselves in songwriting spaces.
That's something that I never really learned about till I started spending a lot more time in LA and Nashville.
Yeah. Yeah, the songwriting, the songwriting in Nashville, especially, I had no idea what that was like before I moved here. It's incredible how these teams of people will just get together and just bang out songs after songs after songs. It's amazing. That's really cool. Yeah. That's really cool.
So how did you pick not your team? Have you had experiences or difficulties or folks or is it just perfect the first time, every time?
No. No, first I've had a couple of like horror story experiences with people who I will never work with again. And there are some things I have learned through those experiences. So one of them is I don't work with anyone who isn't getting paid anymore, because I did some collaborations when I was just starting out and like didn't have any money and was like, oh, I just need help, with people who were like, I'm just starting out too. And I'm not, I don't need to charge you. And I actually work with a ton of people who are just starting out. I really like meeting people who are fresh out of school. I find that producers especially have a lot of great ideas when they're right out of school and have not been producing all day, every day for 10 years. But I feel like there's a level of professionalism that happens when there has to be a contract and the person is getting paid that like is just better. People deliver on time. People do better work. Everybody is nicer when they know that there's like the agreement has been made. There's no resentment. So one of the negative experiences I had was when I was just starting out and not paying someone. And they ended up basically saying, well, I did more work than I was expecting, and I think you should pay me if you want your stems, which is
Still kind of holding it hostage.
So they held your project hostage after saying they would do it for nothing. Interesting.
So, and because they were doing it for free, there was no need for a contract, right? So now there's always a contract. There's always, this is what I'm going to pay you. This is what the agreement is. Or if I work for free, I'm working with someone who has some ownership in the song. Certainly I have production partners who I write with, and then they are co-writers and co-master owners of that track. But that's a different situation than when someone is like a work for hire. So that's the big one, I would say.
Yeah. Do you always approach the agreements before you even get started, or is it like you might get started on a project and then be talking about terms, or how does that part work?
Again, I think it depends on whether it's a work for hire or whether it's a co-write. So sometimes I write with producers, and in those situations, I go by Nashville rules when I write. And so I assume that everyone in the room for a co-write has equal stake in the writing credit.
Gotcha.
So if it's me and a producer, we're each 50% writing owners. And then if we like the song and we want to do something with it, after that, I'll talk about what the master ownership is going to look like. So I don't necessarily do that before we start writing. If it's a work for hire, before the person does any work, have them sign a contract.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Has that ever become like a sticky or not so great situation post creating the art, like having the song and then things go south with collaborators?
I mean,
you don't have to be specific. I'm just kind of curious.
Yeah. I'm trying to think about that. I've definitely had co-writes where a producer wants to make something for my artist project. And I think that what's interesting is, like, for me, I write, 4 songs a week. 1 or 2 of them is a good song. And then the rest I throw away. And from those, 1 or 2 songs a week that are good, I release 1 every 8 to 12 weeks. So I'm not going to release most of what I write. And I think that, like, I've had a couple experiences where someone comes into a writing room and is like, okay, I'm a producer, we're going to write this song, and then you're going to release it. And then is frustrated when I'm like, well, it's not that good, so I'm not going to release it. We could write again and try and write something good, if the write was fun. But occasionally I think there's a little bit of pressure. And for me, I write for other artists as well. And when I write for other artists, my feeling is like, if I want to write for your project, then I just need to write really well and keep writing until we get something you're so excited about that you can't wait to release it. And I think depending on, like, I've had a couple of producers who just work really fast and work mostly on non-vocal or non-lyric music. And I think it's just a little bit of a different scene.
Here's a question we just got in. How do you handle, did you see this one?
I did not know.
How do you handle artists and producers who are very pushy on getting you to complete a verse in an inadequate amount of time?
Yeah. Do you ever feel pressure from producers or artists to rush?
Like, to top line? Do you think that's...
I think if you're a work for hire person, like, basically, how do you handle
deadlines? Yeah. Like a quick deadline. Is that something you deal with a lot? Or do people come to you and say, like, we need this by tomorrow at noon, and then you have to, like, bust out a song?
Well, I like writing fast. So I'm maybe not the ideal person to specifically answer this question, because I kind of love the, like, we need this in 24 hours. But I think that the closest that my answer will come is I put a session on the calendar. So we're both in a room together, usually, if there's a tight deadline. And that way the other person is part of that process. I wonder about you two, though. I feel like mastering in particular, I hear tales
Yes.
of
Yeah.
deadlines.
I mean, it does. It happens to us. We're very used to it because, the tracking gets started. You have a date, but we got to do some overdubs. So now mixing starts like a little late, and then mixing gets in some revisions. And then lo and behold, their album release date is in a week and they haven't had the album mastered. And so
sometimes it's not even mixed.
Sometimes it's not even mixed. If I could give any advice from an engineer side to artists, I would say, please do not book your album release shows until your album is in your hand. And I'm totally serious about that. Like every time there's a disaster, it's always because an independent artist has an album release show that they're trying to make. And that has been the bane of our existence. So totally, you're exactly right, Samantha. That does happen to us a lot.
Yeah. I've definitely done what I would consider quick turnarounds to Piper. And but I've also heard, I've been in the room when you receive something that's like, can I have this tonight? Which to me is like, whoa.
Yes. We had 3 things today that we need this today at our studio. So yeah, it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. We very much appreciate people who do give us a little lead time. So thank you so much for that. Much appreciated.
Yeah, there was one time, I don't know, you're like, I kind of need this back in a couple of days. Is that okay?
Oh man, that's too much time. Don't give me that much time. That's awesome.
Yeah, when I put it on my calendar, I like live and die by my calendar. And when I put mastering on my calendar, in my mind, Piper always has 2 weeks. And then usually by the time I get there, she has 1 week.
Yeah.
Still and then if there's a crisis, sometimes she has 3 days.
That's not bad. That's honestly great. Thank you so much.
Jealous?
A little bit. Yeah. Honestly, I'm gonna peace out now. Thanks. Retirement for me. I actually, we got this question. It's a mastering question, but I think that I'm kind of curious to get Samantha's take on it, and I'm happy I'm not going to lead with you on this one. I'll kind of we'll give our opinion first, and then we'll talk to you because I'm a little curious if you deal with this. This is specifically about mastering. When you are mastering an album for someone, do you encode ISRC codes into the waves, or is that typically handled by the aggregator and distributor? I know this is important when making a DDP for a CD replication, but wasn't sure about the individual wave files themselves. So Piper, do you encode ISRC codes onto waves? What is your opinion?
Onto the waves themselves.
You never would. If you have like a hard not gonna do it policy, or
for the most part, yeah. If it's waves, if it's a DDP and CD text, yes, absolutely. If it is something that the client is needing and requesting and paying for, metadata encoded FLACs or some sort of a file with an ID3 tag, yes.
Then
but
you can do it.
By general definition, you're not encoding a lot of metadata on the file. You've got like a little tiny header that tells the file what it is. It's like a 24-bit, 96 kilohertz wave file, and then a file name, and that's it.
That's pretty much it.
And the reason that I am really a stickler about not encoding metadata on the file itself by default is because there are a lot of really wacky characters that artists often ask for. So like, song title first half / second half.
Oh yeah.
And a slash in a file name doesn't work.
Sure.
So I can't guarantee that metadata is going to actually work on a WAV file. So I just let the artist specify that with the distributor on the streaming.
That's
what about you?
Yeah, and for me, my argument has always been that once that file gets up onto some website, whether it be Spotify or Tidal or whatever, something in that file has changed, right? They have encoded that.
Our master.
It's not our master. They have encoded that into some other file type, and there's no guarantee that metadata will continue on past the encoding process into that new process. And I actually find too that a lot of people have a lot of misconceptions about this. Even major labels will ask sometimes for ISRC codes onto waves, and they will even ask for the same ISRC codes on mastered for iTunes files as they will for regular waves. And I'm like, guys, this is a different recording. Like, this is not the same thing. You can't do that. Actually, I've just stopped. Honestly, I've stopped even trying to educate them. I just do it because whatever, they clearly don't know. But I'm curious, Samantha, because I know I get a lot of artists, the most common question I get as a mastering engineer is, what are ISRC codes? Do I need them? Do I put them? How do you deal with ISRC codes, Samantha? Have you ever dealt with that before?
Yeah, my aggregator, my distributor does them. So when I upload a song, I use DistroKid, and when I upload a song, they create an ISRC code and it ends up on everything. And I honestly have never investigated how it ends up on everything or where it is on everything, but I know it's there.
Input.
Is what?
It's hand input.
Oh, there you go.
The different
a human does
services. There is a certain amount of automation that the aggregators have control over, but there is a point where every single file gets handled by a human depending on where it's going. So like iTunes.
Yeah.
Spotify.
Is this a DistroKid specific thing?
No.
Just in
all aggregators.
Oh, interesting.
Because there is a point in Apple Music, Spotify, that it gets taken from the distributor and input into their database by a human being.
That's interesting.
Wow. So that's why every distributor or aggregator, I call them an aggregator. Okay, DistroKid is an aggregator.
CD
Baby, TuneCore, the Orchard, Symphonic, STEM, all of them. They all have some degree of automation, but once they have delivered that to the service, it is picked up and worked on by a human.
That actually makes me feel a lot better about the world. That's
Don't
great.
worry, Dan. It's okay.
Heart skipped a beat. So
ISRC stands for International Standard Recording Code.
Something like that. Yeah,
it's made up of. Did you just question me?
No, I'm saying I didn't know. Like, I'm like, yeah, sure. I'm going to go with that because I have no idea exactly what it stands for.
It's made up of 12 digits. The first 2 digits are your country code.
No, I questioned
myself. The next 3 digits
you.
are your artist code. The next 2 digits are the year it was released. And then the next 5 digits are the serial number for that song, obviously released that year.
Correct. Yep.
So your ISRC, which you should get from your distributor if you want to, or if you want to own it yourself as an independent artist, you can go to usisrc.org.
And only go there.
Only go there. Don't
go
anywhere
else. To any of the other websites. You will overpay and they will not give you.
They're all in MLM.
Yep.
So
usisrc.org is the only place to go.
You might join a cult.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Find yourself in the Caymans and you have no idea how. But yeah, that's definitely go there. But they are important. We talked. We haven't. Sorry.
ISRC.com was the website home for Firefest.
Really?
No, I'm gonna spread that rumor.
That's funny. That's really funny.
usisrc.org. That's the only one.
But they are really important to get. We had a lawyer on actually our last show, and he explained to us that they are still used for tracking by lots of organizations. So definitely need your ISRC codes. But yeah, we do not always put them right on WAV files. DDPs, absolutely, they go on every DDP we make for CD replication for sure.
Okay. So. Question for you, Samantha.
Yeah.
We know how we work and how we make a living. How do you, as an artist, make a living?
Oh, wow. Yes.
In exact dollars and cents, please. No, I'm
yes. Like my gross monthly income.
It is
okay. Well, yeah, it's really disgusting. It's a puzzle piece. It's a bunch of puzzle pieces. It's very a variety of things. So I actually do some, which this is going to be horrifying to you too, but I do a little bit of sound engineering, post-production work,
cool.
Which
no, not horrifying at
I'm
all.
only semi-qualified for it. No, so I do a little I do a little bit of kind of gig work that is music adjacent, but related, which is, I think, true for most independent artists I know, is that there's some kind of like, they're either teaching lessons or they're doing a little bit of like demo work, or they're a session musician, or there's some kind of like thing that's adjacent to being an artist that they're doing for income. And so for me, I work actually right now for a church to make their, like, they send out a podcast service. And so they just need someone to go over it and make sure it sounds okay. And
cool.
I put a little choir of Samanthas on all their music. And which is
awesome.
a lot of fun. Yeah, it's a lot of
I like
fun.
that as a
And
weekend.
because there haven't been choirs, there's been no, because of the
Yeah, right.
pandemic, there's been no in-person choir singing. So
This is amazing.
so that there's a little bit of gig work. And then I am involved in some synchronization writing, which is creating music to sync with television, film, and advertising. And then, I mean, I'm going to put live shows in there, although I'm going to be honest, I feel like live shows are a very break-even game and have been for a while now, unless you're a big artist. So, you know, if I make back the expenses of paying any band members and or booking a space, that's great.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, like, technically I have some streaming income, although I I had 100,000 streams on a song and intentionally didn't collect any of the money to see what that was, and it was like $250. So it was
Oh my God.
it was pretty bad. So the streaming income I would not call income exactly.
That's
But I think that-
interesting.
I think that most artists, there's some kind of, yeah, keep smiling. I think there's some kind of puzzle piece of things, right? So
Yeah.
some artists are also producers, some artists are also voice teachers or guitar teachers, or they, you know, they run live sound at a venue, or there's some kind of secondary thing that it has a little bit more standard of okay, when you do this thing, it always pays. Whereas I think the artist project is very like, okay, if you get successful, this will eventually make money. But while you're starting out, it really is not a source of income, especially because you're paying a fair amount of money for a producer, a mix engineer, a mastering engineer, some Facebook ads, your aggregator or distributor, whatever. You're spending a bunch of money to make the song and put it out.
Yeah.
So you're not going to make that back on streaming for sure at the beginning.
That's so interesting. Yeah. I'm very disappointed to hear that. But I'm sorry.
It's a little dark.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Well, and I mean, there's been a big shift for us too, is now I feel like almost all engineers that I know of anyways are charging flat fees. There's no more points. There's no more being part of the action, right? Like it is, we chop down a tree and we get paid to chop down that tree. And that's kind of like how it feels now for us. Not that that's bad. More than happy to be doing that. But that's interesting because I feel like that is a big shift from at least when I was growing up. You know, you feel like you had, you put out great music, people listened to it a lot, and you made a bunch of money from that. And all the people who did help make that music,
you could control your physical distribution.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. That's really interesting.
You should open a record plant or something.
Huh. I wonder if anybody on this
what a great idea.
This video cast is opening a record plant.
The saddest thing about that story is that all of the wonderful people that you work with and patronize with their collaboration, Samantha, like you have to pay them something. So if you can't figure out how much you're going to make off of a certain musical endeavor, it's hard to run it as a business.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely in a situation, I think this is how a lot of independent artists are, where the music adjacent work that I'm doing is the consistent income. So doing the post-production work for the church is a consistent, or like I have a friend who, for example, who is doing like TikTok consulting. That's going to be a consistent, she has the same clients every month. They want the same number of hours of TikTok consulting. It looks like maybe you guys want a TikTok consultant.
Honestly, I am way too old for that app, but yeah, that's really interesting. You actually bring up a really interesting point, which is just, I'm going to go on like a very short tangent, but I feel like at this time, there is more content being made across all platforms and all genres of entertainment content. And yet we still seem to be in this world of like, everything about when you have kids, it's like you teach them STEM and they must do science and they must become doctors and lawyers and whatever. But like, it feels like most of the actual consumption by people now is entertainment more than products or services such as doctors and lawyers. And so it's interesting to hear that like those are the places where people are making consistent money is for things like TikTok and social media. That's just wild to me. And I'm so excited that people have, like you, have found places to do that. That is so cool. And I wish I was like 10 years younger, but you know.
And I will say, on the bright side, I do think there is something really powerful about like I feel very free to make whatever I want to make because none of it is going to make money streaming, is sort of my attitude. Like, I don't need to make the exact thing that's going to get playlisted, because even if I get on a playlist and it blows up, it's not where my monthly income is coming from.
Yeah,
so
I would have never thought of that. So cool. That is so cool.
You know, so I can make weird songs about Matthew McConaughey and be like, great, this is what I do for a living.
That's awesome.
Dropping that little teaser. All right, Samantha, let's switch gears for a second here. What can we do as engineers and technical people facilitating your creativity to make your life easier or better? Not like us, because we're perfect.
The two of you,
but
yeah. But like, let's maybe not even like horror stories in the studio. But what are some things that you find are like, oh, that's really nice, or this engineer did something that helped process.
I mean, I find that the thing that I want most is people I can trust, so that I can let go a little bit of the parts of the process that I have less information about. Like, I'm not a mastering engineer, so let's be really honest. When I listen to the masters, often they sound very similar to me. Even when maybe to Piper they sound different. Like, I'm hearing it and I'm thinking, yeah, that's good, and then Piper will make a change and I'll be like, that's also good. And I think that for me, having a person who, again, has strong opinions, has a creative perspective. Like, Piper, just recently, we had an experience where I sent you a mix and you were like, there's a problem with this mix. You need to go back and fix the problem with this mix in order for me to have the best possible master. And to me, that was so, those are the moments where I'm like, okay, I know Piper has my back. Because a lot of people would have just mastered my thing and been like, oh, she's not going to notice. She didn't notice it in the mix. She's not going to notice it in the master. I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to delay the timeline. And then if someone else called it out later, now I'm left questioning, oh, is that because my mastering engineer didn't notice it and isn't like as skilled as I'd like them to be? Or is it because they didn't care to tell me and weren't interested in the best possible outcome? Whereas I think like those moments of critique can actually be really trust building. So, I mean, and I feel that way with producers too. Like I send pretty full demos to producers. I don't send a voice memo. I send like, here's the vibe of the song. And if there's something that is not good, I want them to be like, we cannot use this bass. Please remove this bass. For me, that's very trust building, because then I'm like, oh, okay, they care about this song being good.
That's awesome.
I feel like I was taught this way, and I know you were, because we work for one of the best mastering companies in the world, Infrasonic, and we wouldn't be here if we didn't care about the project or always want it to be the best it can be. But before my time at Infrasonic, and I know before your time at Infrasonic, Dan and I were taught to be stewards of the project. While it's in our care and custody, it has to be taken care of and improved, hopefully. I just don't know that everybody has that. I mean, luckily, most of our colleagues that I can think of have that trait and that drive. But if you can always just think about, like, when you are holding onto the project, it better be better, in a better state than when you left it. And if you don't put your energy towards that, then what the fuck are you here for?
And I think that one of the things I've seen is, I mean, a lot of the producers I work with now are dear friends and started out charging way too little for their time, like really undervalued themselves, and then would get super burnt out and be like, oh,
Yeah.
I just have to, like, I have to do 6 more projects this month to pay rent.
Hmm.
And I, you know, obviously you can't overcharge when you're new, you know, and you don't have a catalog to show really. But I do think that charging an amount of money for your time that allows you to invest the time you actually need to make the project good and to take on only projects you care about, to be able to say no to projects that you're like, I don't like this song and I don't care about it. I think that like that, as an artist, I would rather spend a little more money and have a person who cares deeply about my project than get dirt cheap work and have a person who just like wants to do one version and then be done, or like,
Right.
you know, isn't interested really in making it unique.
Right.
That's interesting.
Okay. All right, I got another one for you.
Oh, okay. I was gonna go a totally different direction. But
What's your
think?
direction?
Well,
I'll come back.
I was gonna go with her. So, okay, Samantha, you
Yes.
clearly have a really good knowledge about recording, and you just said you do really in-depth demos on your own.
Uh-huh.
So, and you have like an AT 4050 microphone. Like you clearly
Look
you
at this
know,
beauty.
like, I know, right? So, question:
Uh-huh.
How did you learn to do recording? How, as an artist, like what was the best way? What would
Oh my God, it
new
was
artists to
torture.
learn to do it?
It was torture. Don't do it the way I did it. Okay, so what happened first, I'm just going to be honest. What happened first is that I had a bad production experience with a producer who was really condescending and
Ooh.
didn't think I knew anything about my own music. And I left that feeling like, never again. I'm going to know what I want. I'm going to know what words I need to use. I'm going to know. And so then I was like, all right, I need to go all the way professional and learn Pro Tools, which was never going to happen. I was never going to be willing to invest enough time to learn Pro Tools. That was a total pipe dream.
That's mostly Pro Tools' fault, by the way. That's not all your fault. Just FYI.
I just didn't care enough about it, right? Like I feel like learning anything requires a certain amount of joy in the thing.
Yeah,
no, getting in trouble.
No, not at all. That makes total sense.
So like that was never going to happen for me. But I had already been kind of like recording a little bit in GarageBand, which I think a lot of artists do, or were doing at the time anyway. It's much more voice memos now than when I was first starting to write. But and so when I found out that Logic was essentially GarageBand, but with more stuff, that was a turning point for me. And then I really think that the rest of what I really learned is that I didn't need to become a producer. I needed to learn enough about production to communicate with a producer without having to talk like that, because everybody uses different words. Like when one person says, oh, I want that to sound more hollow, that can mean a completely different thing to them than it means to me. So, so for, you know, when I do a demo, I'm a vocalist. So I put in a lot of vocals and I learned how to produce and mix my own vocals pretty well, and how reverb worked and how the effects worked and how filters worked. And then I play keyboard. And so I truly, when I write a bass line, I'm just playing bass notes on my keyboard. I don't write a fancy bass line. I use built-in Logic bass sounds. I didn't spend hundreds of dollars on a pack, but I pick the bass in Logic that fits best. And then when I send it to the producer, they're like, okay, we'll switch that out for this other thing that's like that, but cooler. So it was a lot of just kind of like, once I found a thing I could use, it was a lot of just leaning into the things that were strengths already and not worrying about like, I'm not a beat maker and that's okay. Someone else can do that.
That's great. Well, but I mean, but you are like the other cool thing is like you've actually got that skill now, which is really cool.
Yeah. I mean,
love-
I cheat a lot. I use a lot of
Dude,
sampled
we
beats.
all
but-
cheat a lot. It's okay. We all
Okay.
do. It's true.
I really love, I mean, Samantha, you hit something on the head that I think a lot of people newer to the music scene or the audio scene or the combination need to hear, which is that you don't have to wear every single hat. You just kind of
Mhm.
know, you have to know what the different types of hats are.
Mhm.
And like the idea of an artist being also their own recording engineer, producer, mixer, and mastering engineer, and distributor, and business person, and attorney, and promo person, like that is exhausting.
That's crazy, is what that is.
But there are so many
Yeah.
people that do that. They feel like they have to do it.
It's true.
So
Well, and I also think like you just have to find the things that are right for you. You don't have to become a producer who can produce other people's. Like I have this one nice mic, and this is a really good mic for my voice, and I don't have 6 fancy microphones the way that like a producer with a home studio would. And I think finding those things, and then finding again people you trust, people who you can hand things off to and not be scared. That's good.
Well, and it seems like you have really like, so I talk about this a lot when I'm giving like master classes or whatever, but I feel like a lot of people are really into gear and they feel like the gear they get is what they need. And I'm always like, this is like golf, guys. Like this is golf companies will sell you that driver that will give you 40 extra yards in your drive. And it doesn't work like that, right? Like Tiger Woods is going to golf better than I will with a crappy set of clubs than I will with the best in the world. And it's the same for engineering. And you totally seem like you have not been persuaded by that at all, which is awesome because it's exactly right. Like the tools are just tools. And it seems like your focus is really where it should be in like making good sounds that you can give a clear direction to your producer to then take that track where it needs to go. So hats off to that.
And also leaving enough space for the other person to be creative. Like I don't enjoy when I'm in a write and the song is done and someone's like, okay, contribute.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm like, well,
Yeah.
contribute what? This is great. Like, you want me to change 2 words? And now I'm like, that's not why I'm in music, right? Like, I think I want the producer to bring something to the song that I didn't. I want the mix to change the song in a way I didn't necessarily expect. I like want to expect to be pleasantly surprised by the people I'm working with. So I don't have to do everything because then there's no room for them to do stuff.
all right, so where I was going for a minute there, it took me a second, so I actually jotted this question down. Okay, so Samantha, as an established artist with the team, what would you say to a very new producer or engineer that doesn't have a portfolio that might want to work with you or work with an artist that they've never approached before?
Well, I had a producer come to a songwriting event where I shared a demo and tell me afterward, I really loved that demo of that song. Do you have anybody producing it? I have some ideas. And I said, no, let's get coffee. Let's talk about it. So we got coffee. And then he said, yeah, here are my ideas. Here's how I work, and I kind of said, okay, this is the budget I have for a song that I'm not sure I'm going to release with a producer I've never worked with before. And he was like, okay, sounds good. And then he knocked that song completely out of the park, which for me was a test song, right? Like for me, I give him that song that's just a demo that I'm not planning on releasing necessarily. And then he kills it. And now as I'm planning so that song ended up on an EP that I'm working on. And then as I'm planning the next EP, I've already talked to him about working on that EP.
Oh, wow.
So I think that in terms of like a producer, like seeking out a songwriter or an artist, I think finding a specific project that you can collaborate on. And that may not be a song they've already written. Like I also am working with a producer right now where we wrote a song together we liked each other's work. Again, at an event, like get yourself in a space where there are a bunch of songwriters is what I would say. And then find a project that you can work on together and see where that goes. I think, you know, it's great to be on a platform like Sound Better, but I also think, and I've used platforms like Sound Better, or I've gotten session musicians from, you know, online websites. But those are not where my lasting relationships and repeat, you know, producer collaborations are. And that's not where my lasting, yeah. So yes, I'm actually going to go to Song Club after this. So LA Songwriters Collective has a song club. That's a great place to go. It's every Thursday, a bunch of songwriters get together and share songs that are in progress. Balanced Breakfast has some stuff. Nashville Songwriters Association International, NSAI, has events. Also the West Coast Songwriters, especially if you're in the Bay Area, the West Coast Songwriters has a bunch of songwriters. Yes. So those are some organizations. And, you know, going to shows can work, although those are usually finished songs. So if you can get in a room with unfinished songs, that's great. And then I think like just being willing to work on multiple projects and, you know, not necessarily getting paid like your dream amount for the very first song you work on if you're excited about working with that person, or doing a co-write where you're going to own part of the song but not get paid because you're one of the owners of the song. Stuff like that I think is good, and that is what leads to referrals,
right,
in my opinion. So like the people who I refer other songwriters to are friends of mine. I don't ever refer other songwriters to somebody I worked with one time, like for a work for hire, and didn't meet and don't know. Because if that person is rude to my friend who I referred them to, I'm going to feel bad about that. So I want to refer people to someone who I'm like, I trust this person. You can hang out with them. They're cool.
That's awesome. So that's always my advice when I get questions from young engineers who are like, how do I get into studios? How do I break through that? I say the same thing. My only advice is be a great hang. The whole point is you're going to spend tons of hours in rooms with the same people. You all better get along. So like smell good and be a cool hang. And that's the key to success. So you've totally nailed it.
Songwriters want producers so bad. So like songwriters really want producers, and they really want to know mix engineers, and they really want to know a mastering engineer. And they're asking each other, who produced this song for you? Who mixes your, like I get asked at least once a month for particularly my mix engineer, because nobody has a mix engineer. Every producer is like, oh, I can just mix it, which sometimes is true and sometimes is not true. And so, you know, it's like, I think it's good to be a person who like is a friend, who somebody wants to refer somebody. Like I'm literally I'm dying to refer people to Piper so bad that sometimes I'll just post in LA Songwriters, like, anybody need a mastering engineer? Like nobody even has to ask me. But I think that like, that's because like I called Piper when I had a really frightening mix incident where I was like, oh my God, I've finished, I've paid, it's not good. And I called Piper on the brink of panic, being like, what do I do? What happens now? How? And she's like, all right, you're going to go back to your mix engineer. You're going to say this, this, and this. You're like, here's the words you use. And then you're going to send it back to me next week. And I'm going to do it overnight. And I was like, okay. And and so like those moments of just being a cool human are what makes someone want to refer business to you.
And the cool thing too is like we'll find opportunities for our artists too, like the people that we work with. We're constantly looking for
all the time
opportunities. Like I have a random friend who needs voice lessons. And I've already, sent her a couple of people. Like that's how we do that.
Right.
I'm speaking really slowly because I can hear myself speaking in an echo.
That's one of the worst. I'm so sorry, Piper.
That's okay. So thank you, Samantha. That's very kind words that you've given me. The network, the trust,
Mm-hmm.
making sure that you understand to come at the artist from where you are and not expect a lot. Did I miss any of that in the summary?
No,
I think that's it.
pretty
Don't be an
much
asshole.
nails it. That's really what it is. For me, it's just like we're all, I mean, the whole point, I think people forget too, like we make art. We don't make like widgets, right? Like, and I feel like a lot of the music industry treats music like a widget, and that's really too bad. And I'm glad that there are people like you who are still, picking your producers based on the way they make you feel, the way you like hanging out with them. That's literally what this whole industry is about. And I don't think that gets said enough. So
No,
yeah,
there are
that's
so
great.
many talented people. I feel like if we've learned anything from the absolute oversaturation of the music industry, it's that there are so many talented people. You can find one who's talented and nice.
Yes,
so I don't need to work
totally.
with somebody who's not nice.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's true. That is true. Do you have any more questions, Piper? What else has come in?
I mean, I get to ask Samantha questions all the time.
That's true. That's true.
All right. Who is your favorite artist?
Oh man.
Of all time.
Of all time.
Or how about this? How about this? Give us 3 albums to listen to this next week, this weekend, over the weekend. What 3 albums should we listen to?
Okay. That I can do. I need to look at the titles of the albums because of course I listen to everything like either the whole artist on shuffle or like one song 900 times.
Oh, it could be a song. We could just say song. We don't have to do whole album.
Okay. Marion Hill is a top artist for me. I would say the song Got It is a good song, good place to start.
Mm-hmm.
And then I mean, Sarah Bareilles has always been like a huge influence for me. I love Sarah Bareilles.
Did what?
Did Reed master that record when you were here?
No.
Or mix?
No. I was not around for that one.
Am I
The
gonna
room
have to
that we're sitting in has done a lot of
I think that's something of hers to get mastered in this or mixed in this room,
here.
right?
Yeah,
I think so.
There's Sarah Bareilles ghost in here.
There is, yeah.
Incredible.
We can sense it. Yeah. All right.
And I guess I mean, I have so many favorite albums, but maybe Little Voice is a good place to start.
Oh.
God, there's so many. I'm just looking now. There's so many good ones. Okay.
Little Spiral.
Yes, exactly.
Suzanne.
So I think those are my top 2 probably.
Okay.
When you listen to music as an artist, is the part of that really gets you going, like what part is it? The lyrics? Is it the music? Is it the way it jives together? What as an artist makes you excited about listening to a song?
For me personally, it's 100% the innovation. The third album that I was going to say was Jadena has an album, I think that's called The Chief. That's like a hip hop rap album that's incredible. But I think for me, like the things that I love about all 3, those are 3 very different artists. And I think that, I have very eclectic taste in music. And what I love more than anything else is when someone makes a song and I think, oh, I've never heard anyone do that before, or I've never heard those words. Like Julia Michaels, I think, is an incredible example of a songwriter who will rhyme words that I'm just like, Ottoman? You got Ottoman in that song? How? And funny. That feeling of like, how did they do that? That's for me definitely the thing that makes me listen. That's the song that I listen to 900 times.
That's so cool. And I agree. Like when you think about too, even at the Grammys, when you think of the artist of the year, right? You get like a Billie Eilish who's done something that no one else has really done sonically and songwriting wise. And that explodes. And then people chase that and that becomes the thing for a few years. But like, it's always the innovators that are the ones that like get that Grammy. Right. And that's really cool. So
Bruno Mars talks about how for the first, 10 years of his musical life, everybody was like, but what are you? What do you do? What genre are you? And it's like, well, now pop has just moved to Bruno Mars. Like he didn't have to move to pop. Pop just moved to him. So I'm seeing a question in the chat.
Yeah, we've got a couple actually.
Oh.
Music Expo asked, what's the most important for you to something when you release new music?
What's most important to you when you release new music? So in general, when you release new music, what is most important to you? And you can say anything. Is it plays? Is it the process? Is it like, what is most important to you when you release new music?
You know, I mean, gosh, Piper started with a bunch of compliments for me. I will say Piper gave me great advice that time that I called and was like, this is bad. And I'm freaking out. And Piper, what you said to me, I don't know if you remember, but you said, you're the one who has to live with this forever. And so like,
that's a lot of pressure. I got to move out of the frame.
But I think that was really helpful because there's so much pressure to release quickly and release a lot. And there's so much pressure, and we forget that, like, fundamentally, if you're releasing a song, you are an artist and you have to, like, it is your creative vision and you have to live with the way it came out more than anyone else does. And so for me, I don't know, there have been times where I'm like trying to keep to a release schedule or, and all of that's important. But if it's not done, it's not done. And like, if I hate the album art, I should wait until I don't hate the album art. If I hate, if there's something that really is going to make me upset every time I listen to or look at that song forever, then that's not that's not what I want to do. So I think just like making sure that when you check in with yourself, like you are really and truly happy with, okay, it's not perfect, but I'm going to be okay with this forever.
Right. That's awesome.
Because it's never perfect.
It's awesome. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe it's like meat, like you can have certain cuts of steak that are able to be served raw, but not chicken.
I guess that's true.
Not chicken.
So, yes.
Exactly the same.
Samantha has a lot of food.
I have a lot of food songs
in your music.
So many food songs. That's I gotta say, true.
For the first time, I actually listened to the lyrics of "Cucumber Summer."
Oh, it's filthy.
That song is very suggestive.
Oh yeah, it's filthy. When I put out that song, my dad was like, "Do I have to share this with people?"
Good Lord. That's funny.
And I was like, "No, you could do whatever you want." Yeah,
what's the song? I'm not familiar. I gotta find it.
It's called Cucumber Summer, and it's absolute smut. Enjoy.
It is queued up for my drive home. That's
my
perfect.
1K tone just kept going off. I thought it was for calibration, but it was just bleeping.
Oh, it's got bleeps in it? Oh, that's awesome. No. That's awesome.
No, my console automatically
your console
bleeped for me.
It does not like those words. That's so funny.
Censoring.
That is so funny. Well, I've got it saved. I'm excited to check it out.
It's a banger, dude.
So everybody check out Cucumber Summer. As soon as this stream wraps up, go check out Cucumber Summer.
We have maybe one more.
There's time for like one more question, really.
Super quick. So very quickly, only because this person's been on for a long time. Should you release every song you write as an artist, or do you go through some sort of vetting process to know if the song should be released? So like, do you have like a committee that you consult?
Yeah. Okay. So the short answer to this question is no, every song you write should not be released. That said, every song you write should not be released in the form in which you initially write it. There are definitely songwriters who only, write one song a month and just keep at that song until it's right. And that is great. But the night that you write, there is never a time that I am more in love with a song than 10 seconds after I finish writing it. I'm like, this is it. I'm a genius. This is the song of my career. And frequently I go downstairs and I play that song for my partner and he's like, not my favorite. And I'm like, this is it. This is the song.
Oh my gosh.
So I would say have people around you. There are a lot of different ways to have these people who are willing to tell you this is not your best work. You do not want yes people around you for deciding about which songs to release. And that could be a group of songwriters, could be your partner, could be your mom. It could be a text chain with three artists you trust, but have people around you who are willing to say like, no, don't do that one, or work on this part.
I feel like that happens especially to big artists. They end up at this point where there's no one around them who will tell them that's a really bad idea, you know? And so you're exactly right. Start early, get those trustful friends where like, it's not personal, but like, yeah, they'll be honest.
Then when those people say, oh my gosh, this song is so good, there's no feeling like that. When a person who's willing to tell you this is trash tells you this is amazing, it's like, wow, I really am a genius. This is great.
That's awesome.
Every once in a while, Catherine comes to the studio when I'm working and she's like, wow, that's a good song. I like that. And probably half the time it's something I'm working on for you because she doesn't comment otherwise.
Not to knock any of Piper's other clients.
That's the goal.
No, of course not.
That's the goal.
All right. I have a great idea. So Dan and I and Colby, come here.
Oh, Colby's here. We got to welcome the newest
Colby.
member of Infrasonic Mastering.
Come on this
Actually,
side.
the second newest
Come on
member.
this side because you need to hear this. Stick this
in
Piper
my
in
head,
your
right?
ear hole. Okay.
My ear bowl.
Look.
I'll hold this.
All right.
I'm
Here's what
falling.
we're gonna do. Dan, get in the picture. All right. Samantha,
Yes.
we are not songwriters, but we are gonna try.
Okay.
I'm already regretting showing up to work today.
Oh, what are we writing?
We're gonna write a song together.
Great.
Okay. So I think
ready.
it probably should rhyme.
Okay.
Okay. That's
Um,
usually good.
I don't know that it should have a melody or a particular key, but we should probably have you start with a word or muse, and then we each come up with a line, and then you come up with the last line.
Great. Okay. So I'm going to start with a word or muse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's write one verse of a song.
Okay. I'm going to say that our word or muse should be, I mean, we were just talking about food songs, right? Let's do a strawberry song in honor of my strawberry
Your earrings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll do a strawberry song.
Okay.
I'm at a piano.
You are?
Oh,
I'm at a
no.
piano.
Oh, no.
I'm sitting at a keyboard.
Thanks for coming,
There we
everyone.
go.
The stream's
Can you hear
ended.
that?
Bye.
Okay.
We can hear that. Yes,
earrings.
we can hear that.
Strawberry earrings is the title. That's what we just got.
All
in
right.
the
Strawberry
stream.
earrings.
Strawberry earring. Wait, do we have to rhyme strawberry?
Yeah,
or
no,
rhyme-
I think earrings, because it's a day with my yearlings as I look at my earrings. My
Okay.
strawberry earrings.
All right.
Wait, say that again. A day with my yearlings.
Yearlings? I don't know. We got a lot of small deer in my backyard, so they'll be
Great.
our yearlings.
A day with my yearlings. Yeah, this is
And my
this song for
strawberry
sure. We're gonna
earrings.
release this immediately following this stream. A day with my yearlings and my strawberry earrings. My strawberry earrings.
Yeah.
When I think of my earrings, my strawberry earrings, I bought them. It was not a strawberry.
I was gonna go with my eyes are constantly peering.
It's
It was
You're
not a
hearing.
strawberry.
not a strawberry.
Pun master
It's
over
stick-
here.
It's not a stick up. It's a strawberry.
You
It's not a
watching
stick up. It's a
ears.
strawberry.
This was a great.
All right, Colby, you're next.
What do we have so far?
Um,
It was in a stick.
When I see my yearlings, my strawberry earrings,
Mhm.
and with your, what was yours? Eyes? Something peering? Or did I said that?
You said with your eyes something peering.
Constantly peering.
Constantly peering. And then I said, the first line again. 'Cause
Yeah.
I cheated. And then when I bought them, it was not a strawberry. It was a stick up.
It wasn't a stick up.
Stick up, it was a strawberry. Yes.
And now the guilt is searing.
And now the guilt is searing. Oh, that's amazing. Colby, step in.
Okay. Here's what I've got so far. I think I might be missing a line. A day with my yearlings, my strawberry earrings, my strawberry earrings, and I bought them. It was not. I bought them. It was not a stick up. It was a strawberry, and now the guilt is searing.
Oh, that's fucking
Strawberry
amazing.
earrings, my strawberry.
Sorry, we kind of finished the song.
Chorus.
Yeah, we didn't let you. You picked the chorus. That was amazing.
Our chorus
That
is
was
me just saying
amazing.
strawberry 900 times.
It's more genius than
listen.
anything we said.
Listen, pop chorus, you can just go strawberry.
We do the millennial loop.
We did. Yep.
Yeah, then it
Oh
just goes.
man.
Yeah, that's the whole post chorus.
So funny.
All right, you guys.
Sorry, our camera's falling over. I think we have to call it. We have gone
We gotta
overtime.
call it.
This
This
is the
has been
best
so much
video
fun.
call I've been in a long time.
Oh, us too. This has been wonderful.
You never know what you're gonna get
It's
around here.
no stupid audio questions, my friend.
Oh, beautiful.
Thank you, Samantha, so
Thank
very
you.
much for your time
Um,
tonight
What a
and your
delight.
expertise and your love.
Samantha, do you know about the Discord afterwards where we hang out?
Oh no.
You want to come join us?
Okay,
Yeah.
are you familiar with Discord?
Yes.
Okay, so
Is it-
everyone
I
who
mean,
has a Discord.
familiar might be generous, but
Is it Discord?
So on Discord, there's a music expo group, and you can come into the lounge there, and we will all just be hanging out for a little while afterwards.
Yeah,
So,
you guys come hang out with us.
yeah,
Thank you to Carmen and Loic
Carmen
and the
Loic,
entire music
everyone at
Expo
Music
team. And
Expo.
thank you
so much.
to Dan for getting in early to set this all up. Thank you to Colby.
and thank you to Piper for always being Piper. Thank you to Colby for being amazing and joining us today. And congratulations on joining in for Sonic,
He's
Colby.
the cheese knees. Thank you, Dan.
Yeah, and
Yay.
we will
So many thank yous.
we will see you all next month, the first Thursday of every month, and we will keep you posted. So check us out on social media. You can find us at Music Expo. I'm at Infrasonic Dan on Instagram. You are at what, Piper?
SF_mastering.
And where can we find Samantha? Samantha
Margret.
Margret.
Me at
And
Samantha
Colby's
Margret.
Scottish
Oh,
Flipper.
just like that.
Yay.
Perfect. So we'll see y'all in the Discord, and otherwise we will see you next month. Thank you, Samantha.
Thank you. Bye.